so the new behaviour generator, I'll give out the handout shortly. First of all, I'll just talk us through what it is and how it works. Okay, have you ever done something like a behaviour, for example? You've done something and thought, I can't believe I've done that again, type thing. Something, yeah. Okay, so exactly. And how many people out there have got certain habitual behaviour? Some productive, some not productive, but they're non-productive things. Okay, let's take a smoker for example. Is there enough literature out there to tell you that smoking is not good for you? Okay, so people are aware consciously it's not good for them, yet they still do it. Okay, excessive drinking, people are aware, they still do it for one reason or the other. Okay, so where is behaviour driven from? Okay, so behaviour tends to be behaviour tends to develop from the unconscious mind. Okay, now or habitual behaviour. Now think of driving a car. Does everyone drive in the room? Okay, everyone drives a car. When you first learned to drive a car, you had to think first gear, second gear, crunch, fourth gear, okay, maybe slam the brakes on, and everything that goes on when you first learn. Then eventually what happens, you cruise along. You might even start using a mobile phone, but you can't, it becomes unconscious to the point where you get in the car, if you've been somewhere before, you get there without even realising that you've gone.
Got that, yeah.
It happens unconsciously, okay? Now, the thing is, if we learn something, okay, if we learn to do something, what can we do? If we've learned a behaviour pattern, we can unravel that and learn a new pathway, where sometimes if we can do that at an unconscious level, it's going to be embedded, just like the driving, okay? Driving is learned through trial and error practice, and then at a certain point it becomes an unconscious competence, okay? The same applies for a number of different habits that we have. It happens at unconscious level. We do it without even realising we've done it. That's when we do the behaviour again. It's like, oh no, I can't believe I've done that again, type thing. Okay. Sometimes it's a question of the building a new pathway in the mind, getting the mind to visualise something different that they may not have visualised before. We can sometimes take things for granted, thinking, okay, someone comes along, they need a bit of help to do something, a presentation, maybe give up smoking, maybe go into the gym, whatever it is. And we can sort of think, well, we've got the answer to that. And have you ever seen anyone give someone else advice based on their own subjective experience?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you how to do that. Well, the thing is, one thing is, if we use our own experience, we're not meeting that person in their map of the world. Okay, they've got a different frame of reference. They're somewhere else. They're not where you are, and also their experience is completely different. So we've got to bear all that in mind, really. So the technique here works on the basis that we can utilise the unconscious mind. Okay, we can bypass the conscience, okay, and utilise the unconscious mind to develop a new behavioural pattern. Okay, and one of the ways to do that is to use the power of imagery and visualisation. Okay, so imagery visualisation. Think about it. The room we're sitting in now at some point would have been visualised in someone's mind, and they would have designed it. The car that we drive, the phone that we use, it's all just a fragment of someone's imagination. Okay, and then they develop that. So the mind can't tell the difference between a real experience and something that's imagined. Okay, so think about a scary film. Has anyone ever watched a scary film and your heart starts racing? And
Towering Inferno.
Okay, yeah, the Towering Inferno.
Sorry, I got off to the one that's
okay.
Is that all that scary? Sorry. Not really much with it now, no.
Okay, The Living Dead, they're all coming out now. I thought The Exorcist.
I don't know, yeah.
That's a scary one. Yeah. But there we go. We kind of know that the people who are making this film have got makeup on, and it's take one, take two. It's not real. It's only a film, and we probably tell ourselves throughout the film this isn't real. But when it's midnight and you're home alone and you can hear the door creaking and you're watching the Exorcist or the Towering Inferno or the Living Dead, you kind of start thinking to yourself at that point, actually it might be real here, because the mind can't tell the difference between something that's real and imagined. That's why the heart starts racing. It cannot distinguish that to a degree. And even when we're sleeping and dreaming, sometimes you've got to sort of at some point remind yourself that it's only a dream. Now, even when we're dreaming, the reality, we've got, I don't profess to be a medical expert, I do know from from what I understand, that there is a function in the mind that stops us enacting our dream.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what function, because I'm not going to stand here and profess to be a neurosurgeon, but I do know there's a functionality, and I do know people who've got certain cases of brain damage and certain illnesses that sometimes actually get up and enact what goes on.
Yeah, you go into paralysis, don't you? Sleep paralysis, so you don't
Precisely.
end up walking about.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And there are some people who do that,
Yeah.
who do get up and do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't advocate anyone to say, by the way.
You won't get away with it, I promise you.
Yeah. Well, there was a case, but I don't want to go into it on the
yeah.
papers last year where something went on. But
Yeah,
there you go.
about that, yeah.
That's another story for another day. Okay. Now I'm going to do the technique. Has anyone got a behaviour that they'd like to change? Could be anything.